Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's William Bellamy. I'm back. Tonight, I want to talk about some current events that caught my eye, just some stuff in the news, the election, some of the comments made by AOC and Jennifer Rubin, and kind of getting what I want this channel to be, which is more of a things I notice that are interesting in the news, things that I think are interesting, and going a little bit more in depth than some of the news stories give them. But with that being said, please, it's a new channel, like and subscribe, make a comment, let me know what you think. If you disagree with me, then go ahead and hit dislike and tell me in the comments what you disagree with. And share it with your friends. That's the whole idea. The channel's growing, and I think that's great. It's actually growing better than I thought it would, with some guy just offering his opinions and trying to explain stuff in ways that everybody can understand, which I don't think the news or politicians do a really good job of. Now, with that being said, we'll get a start on this. One of the headlines I came across, and since you don't know me very well, I spend probably 4 to 6 hours a day just going from CNN to MSNBC to Fox News to the Washington Post, the New York Post, to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, just going through different stories and looking at the different ways they're told, or what's told by one and not told by another. But I came across a story. The link is in the description of the video. This weekend in Chicago, 6 dead, 37 wounded. Four of those shot were teens. Now, what I would like to say about that is, I understand Black Lives Matter and what they're trying to protest. But where are the protests for these innocent victims being shot? That's consistently happened. Day after day after day. There's this thing in Chicago that I came across with just a cursory, just doing a little bit of research into homicides in Chicago. In 2019, Chicago had a clearance rate of 53%, which has been going up consistently since 2016. Now, that 53% clearance rate is based on a term called CCE, cleared, closed, and exceptional, which means nobody will ever be arrested or charged for that crime for whatever reason. It could be the suspect is dead. It could be that it was determined to be self-defense. But that CCE term has been used more and more every year since 2016. So in theory, with a 53% clearance rate, but 52% of that is based on CCE, then in all reality, if you or a loved one is a victim of homicide in Chicago, there's only a 1 in 4 chance anybody will ever be charged for your murder. Think about that. And I ran across another article talking about the 50 biggest cities in the United States and their crime rates. And what it discusses, and I'll do another video on this because I found it very interesting. Because when people talk about how the crime rates have been getting lower year after year, there's also some really questionable methods they're using to take violent crime and reduce what they're actually calling it. Like, attempted murder becomes assault. So I'm going to do another video on that because I found it very interesting. Because it's not just Chicago, it's nationwide in these larger cities. They're lowering their crime rates by changing the name of the crime that was committed. I find it interesting, but I'm going to do another video on that. And you can make your own choice and do your own research. Like I said, always fact check everything I do. The articles for anything I talk about are linked in the description section, so please do your own research. I always tell you to question the government, question everything. Question me too, fact check me. If I'm wrong, call me on it. I don't have an issue with that. I'll make a correction, I'll make a video saying I was wrong. I have no issue with that at all. Now with that, we'll move into the election. As it stands right now, if everything goes the way it sits, Joe Biden is the president-elect. The Republicans will control the Senate. The House will control the Democrats will control the House, albeit with a smaller majority. Although President Trump has won one decision in Pennsylvania based on the lawfare that he's conducting, and we'll see where that goes. As it stands now, do I think some of his lawsuits have merit? Yes, based on allegations that have been made. We've seen video proof. There's been sworn affidavits about not fraud, let me clarify, inconsistencies in systems and the way they are supposed to operate. Now, do I think that'll change the outcome that we're looking at now? No, I don't. But it has to run its course. There was an article that came out a few months ago about the Democrats wargaming the election. And several prominent Democrats came out and said that Joe Biden should not concede the election no matter what. Why should President Trump not be afforded the same chance? Let's let it run its course. It will come to a head on December 14th, good, bad, or indifferent, whether you agree with it or not. And the results will be what the results are. You know, 2020 has been a really weird year. So why not test everything about our election system too? Let's investigate the indiscrepancies and allegations and have a clear victor. That is the only way the American people can have faith in the system. The American people deserve that. The transparency should be there. And letting this run its course allows us to have that transparency. Now, going into my next segment, what I would like to state for the record, Joe Biden in 47 years in politics has never shown himself or stated he was a socialist. Never has he done that. In fact, he's always been considered fairly moderate. And I give him credit for being that and hope that if he does become the president, he will continue that. With that being said, members of the Democratic Party that espouse socialist values or proclaim themselves to be socialist, that is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You have people like Jennifer Rubin, who can't decide what party she is, because she condemned President Barack Obama, then condemned President Trump. And then you have Evan McMullin coming forward, who is a former Republican, and they want to create lists. In fact, one of them said there's already a list being created of Trump supporters. And they want to take this list and they want to blacklist people on it. In fact, I'm going to read this off. The people on this list that is drawn up should never serve in office, join a corporate board, find a faculty position, or be accepted in polite society. That's an exact quote. I have the article in the description of this video. Now just think about that for a second. And I'm going to give you 3 other times in history where people have made lists of their political opponents. You had the French Revolution. And that list became everybody who got the guillotine. Maximilian Robespierre was one of the people who designed that list. In the end, they came for him too. There was another guy. He was a little short guy, had a little funny mustache. His name was Hitler. He had a list. Those were Jews and gypsies and undesirables. And they sent them to camps. You want to get to more current history? In Rwanda, the Tutsis had a list of Hutus. The Hutus had a list of Tutsis. And that led to genocide. When we get to the point where we're creating lists and we're blacklisting people and we are pushing to destroy one political party and moving to a one-party state, it's a scary thing. At what point in history has a country with a one-party state not become a totalitarian regime? That is what some of these people are pushing for. And I would ask you to think about that and ask yourself, is that what we're supposed to be about? When the Articles of Confederation were written and the Declaration of Independence, in our founding fathers' mind, imperfect people, because we all are, do you think they ever once thought that what they were trying to create would lead to a system of dictatorship, a system of the thought police, a system similar to North Korea or the Soviet Union, where you whisper to your spouse because your neighbor will report you? And when that happens, you'll be interrogated, re-tortured, because that's what really happened. Read the Gulag Archipelago. Open up any of the 3 volumes on any page. Then you'll be sent to a camp. You can call it a work camp, as they did in the Soviet Union. You can call it a re-education camp like Pol Pot did. I think they still call them re-education camps in China, or thought camps in North Korea. That's what one-party rule gives us. When we start creating lists of our political opponents and start banning them from certain positions, and honestly, the one that scares me the most is faculty positions. Our children go to universities. In that university, they should be challenged. They should be challenged to think of it in other ways, to walk in other people's footsteps. That's how you become diverse. That's how you become a better person. That's how you learn. You acknowledge the things around you. You acknowledge other thought processes. You acknowledge your political opponents. You listen to their message. You understand where they're coming from. It doesn't mean you change your beliefs. It doesn't mean you sacrifice your principles. It means you're willing to be open to other ideas. As I said, if you disagree with me, hit dislike and tell me what you disagree with. We'll actually do a video that I'll post to my channel. And we'll have a civil debate. Because yes, you may change my mind because I'm not closed-minded. But I may change yours. But the only way that can happen and have civil discord is if we're willing as people to come together and have this discussion. Just something to think about. Now, with that being said, please, if you like the content I'm putting out, like, subscribe, share with your friends. If you want to, my Patreon's also in the description. You can donate some money because I have an idea where I want to go with this channel. And I guarantee you anything you do will go directly into making this a better channel. If you dislike, hit dislike and tell me why. I just brought it up. We'll have a civil discussion. I won't try to hide it from anybody. All right, coming up, I'm going to do a special on Afghanistan, another one on socialism in America. Based on a DM I got on Twitter, I'm also going to do an About Me, because I got a lot of questions from somebody about why or how I form my opinions and my assessments of what I see around me. So I'm going to go further into that. He also said I was a nerd for thinking that people on YouTube read the About section. So I'm going to do a video on it and talk about my history and my past and my education and what brought me to my thought process now. But that's the stuff that's coming up. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. And if you don't agree with what I'm saying, hit dislike and tell me why, and we'll talk about it. And as always, question the government. Hold them to it. Question yourself where you are and where you want to be. And with that, have a good evening.